D-Lo 404 Boxing. Alright, y'all. I've been talking to y'all about this Devin Haney versus George Kambosos fight one more time. Um, this is one of those fights where the one of the combatants truly didn't want to fight. He wanted to do other things besides face the opponent that he's facing, and the combatant I'm speaking of is Kambosos. Devin Haney was not in the plans, regardless of what he said prior to beating Teofimo Lopez. He didn't come out of that fight wanting to fight Devin Haney to become undisputed. In fact, he said prior to fighting Lopez that Lopez wasn't an undisputed champion because Devin Haney was WBC champion. But then once he came up on the other end of that fight, came out victorious, he started trying to, go ahead and echo this undisputed status. He started anointing himself as undisputed as well, or accepting that anointment or that distinction from people who were dismissive of the fact that Devin Haney was WBC champion. That in and of itself told me that he wanted to be undisputed without having to win the fight for undisputed. All right. Now there's another fight that recently happened that has parallels. In terms of one guy not really wanting to fight, staying away from the fight for a great bit of time, a lot longer than Kambosos has stayed away from Haney. And then eventually being pressured into the fight and then acting as if that's what he wanted all along. Just like Kambosos talking about how he chose Devin Haney, this, that, and the other. No, we ran out of options, sir. In that fight that I'm speaking of, that fighter is Oscar Valdez. Oscar Valdez stayed away from Shakur Stevenson until he couldn't anymore. And with everything else that unfolded in the background, him fighting Shakur Stevenson was almost a save face type thing. Like he had to go out there and fight Shakur Stevenson because, you know what I'm saying, the writing was on the wall. Everything started to be revealed. And he went out there and he finally took the fight after avoiding him in one weight class, moving up to another, and actually trying to avoid him in that one as well. And then the pressure got too great, he had to take the fight. I'm not going to say had to, because I guess there's always other things to do. But eventually, he took the fight. I give him credit for taking it. But everything going into that fight indicated to me that Oscar Valdez knew what the outcome of the fight was going to be. And when the fight played out, it pretty much exposed why Valdez never wanted to fight. It was not a very competitive fight. Valdez was dominated very thoroughly in that fight. Shakur Stevenson had a lot of fun in there. He never seemed to be in any type of trouble. And it was a fight in which he pretty much knew the outcome from the start of the opening bell until the end, and so did we. I think that this Haney versus Kambosos fight could be that lopsided. I think as far as the problems that Kambosos can present to Haney, I think they're minimal, especially if Haney fights a smart fight at distance, mid-range to outside, and doesn't come to Kambosos, because that gives him his best shot. Kambosos coming to Devin Haney is a problem for Kambosos. So I think that Haney's a smart enough fighter. He has enough tools in the toolbox. He has the physical advantages, skill advantage, excuse me. And I think from a ring IQ standpoint, I think he's on another level. And I just feel like this is going to be quite the undressing of George Kambosos before the world. And I think that Kambosos is going to struggle to win 3 rounds in that fight, in my opinion. And like I said in my previous video, I'm starting to lean toward Kambosos getting stopped around the 9th round, especially after seeing him struggle to make weight, which I was already leaning that way before that. But I mean, I leaning even more, to the point that I may even, well, I put it like this. I've stamped that as my pick. I went with a 9th round stoppage on the Champ Ross for what that's worth. As far as the fight itself goes, in terms of the event, once again, I'm stoked that the fight's happening. These are the type of fights that we need to get in boxing. There should have never been any hesitation for the fight being made. I felt like, after the Teofimo Lopez fight, this was the next logical step for George Kambosos. It was the next logical step for Devin Haney. We saw Devin Haney pushing up on Teofimo Lopez for a fight that he was never going to get. And the Kambosos said he was going to fight Haney if he wins. And it should have been no hesitation. They should have both ran toward that fight. But it's here now. I'm glad we got it. Hopefully nothing happens in the next, several hours. And we get the showdown that we've been waiting on. And on the other side of this fight, we'll have an undisputed champion. Hopefully, it doesn't end like the first Jamel Charlo, Brian Castano fight. It doesn't end with a draw. Hopefully there's a clear, definitive winner, and that winner gets his hand raised, all BS aside. That's all I got on it. D-Lo 404 Boxing. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'm out. Peace.